morning, our beloved viewers. It's 9 p.m. You are watching on Live RTD channel. Welcome to this English news edition. Here are the top stories. A workshop to launch the self-assignment tools for the prevention of gender-based violence. And on the international scene in Zambia, Kamala Harris calls for rapid debt resolution. Those were the top stories. Thanks for joining us in our newsroom. The Ministry of Women and Family, in collaboration with the Ministry of Interior and the National Union for Djiboutian Women, launched this morning a 2 days workshop on the self-assignment and transformation tools organization at Campasky Palace Hotel. This is part of the support for civil society engagement in the local development process, and this project founded by USAID and executed by the Kazan's company. The project aims to support the capacity building of civil society organization in Djibouti and to promote their participation in the local development process. The third component of the project aims to prevent and mitigate gender-based violence with the particular emphasis on female genital mutilation. This opening session was attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Women and Families, Ms. Shukri Hussein, the Secretary General of UNFD, and also the Deputy Director of International Cooperation, Mr. Obris Halef Barroso, the Deputy Representative of USAID in Djibouti, Ms. Katrina, and this workshop brought together, among others, the delegates and representative of the regional branch of Ministry of Women and Family, but also the UNFD, as well as the president of the association in Djibouti City and in the interior region. For her speech, Ms. Fatuma Musa, the Secretary General of UNFD, said that such an initiative is so important for better coordination of this agent in order to combat against this development process, these female genital mutilations, she said. And finally, in her speech, Ms. Shukri Hussein, an acting Secretary General of the Ministry of Women and Families, recalled the work of the gender equality in concretize. She also thanked to the collaboration of the all partners of operating in this file. As part of the tournament of the Blessment of Ramadan, the administration of Saudi School of Djibouti organized the second tournament of the Cup of the Servant and also the two holy mosques in Djibouti, Mr. Faisal bin Sultan, which is organized by the Saudi School in Djibouti. A total of 12 teams from different ministries organized, and the government and private department participated in this Ramadan competition. A group of reference from the Ministry of Youth and Sports of Djibouti managed the match in the semi-finals, and Cripian team played against the Air Forces team, and the Cripian team won by a score of 3-1. The communication director, Mr. Hussein Abdullahi, and the leader of the Crippen team gave the best of themselves in a good atmosphere and the spirit of a team to clinch a place in the final, which opposites against the team of University in Djibouti. And this Wednesday, prior, the schools not being They also note that there are many awards such as championship team, a run-up, best player, and award goalkeeper, and then also an award of Langtop soccer, which is one of the great value. Following the delivery of the sport kits by the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo Mumin Asowi, the Regional Sub-Directorate in Ali Sabih region, in collaboration with the associative groups, launched by the tournament of different disciplines such as volleyball, footballs, pancake, and other sports in several sites in the city of Ali Sabih as part of the activities planned during the blessment of Ramadan. At the opening match were present the CDC officials and president of the Sports Association who supervise the courses of the later and were delighted with the prefecture and the understanding between the organizers and participating team. This competition will bring together more than 500 young people from 15 teams in capital, but also in the region of Ali Sabi. As for the public, in addition to the football, and in benefit it benefits from a moment of relaxation with the listening of songs and praise animated by the troops and thus in the city of Ali Sabih. Finally, the tournament is an opportunity for the entertainment that will wave bands of friendship, fraternity, and views of enthusiasm arouse among young people. In Tajora region, it's renewed for the manufacture of handicraft ware that constituted the most important aspect of intangible cultural heritage. The women of the region, in particular that of White City in Tajora and other localities like Ardu, Bankuale, just a few examples have always worked in the craft sector, a sector that has developed strongly in recent decades thanks to particular and also a strong demand for artisanal product. This is how all these products on display are the result of ancestral know-how consistently improve while preserving their original traditional touch. The development of local tourism has also been a real boost for craft in almost the entire region. This is the case of a tourist village of Tajura located in the locality of Tajura region, only in a few minutes from the town, a village that has organized itself through several ecotourism activities and where women have developed new skills in preserving the environment and improve their health, and organization that allows women to make a living from their work. And tourism has been on one of the sector hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, and until today these are affected and fell, seeing the importance of this sector. For more details, let us listen our colleague Hindi.
One of the sector most severely affected by the epidemic of COVID-19 until today these effects are felt. Seeing the importance of this sector, the government through its ministry will put in place its strategic demand that will install a new approach that of sustainable recovery, a tourism to support the population and the sense create jobs, promote culture and protect the heritage, but also a tourism issue for future generation. It will be inclusive tourism, a tourism that includes no one of tourism that protect and not destroy it. It will be a question of the rethinking the future of the tourism sector and the way it will contribute to the development of Egyptian population. In other ways, they put in place a value chain to absorb youth implement. It is to reduce poverty by integrating young people in the value chain that is tourism. For that, it will be a question of relying on the terminal capital that exists. Indeed, it is a question of putting in place a policy that favors environment conducts to entrepreneurship and sustainable small and medium-sized tourism enterprise, which invested in development of qualified tourism workforce and facilitated the transition from the informal to formal economic. Initial access concentrated on people on inclusive, sustainable, resilient innovation. A tourism that will be enjoyed in the long term for future generation. It is in the case that Minister of Trade and Tourism launched in the morning of Tuesday, February 16, 2023, at the People's Place, a conference on entrepreneurship and tourism job. It is a conference placed under high patronage of the Minister of Trade and Tourism, Mohamed Oussama Douria, saw the participation of more than 115 young Egyptians. The objective of this conference is to encourage young people to discover and seize job opportunities, including entrepreneurship, existing in the strategic sector for the economic development of our country. Several priority investment projects, some of which have started with the mobilization of the private sector, both on the interception infrastructure and intellectual structure. This identified infrastructure will allow the creation of more than 2,000 jobs in the short term, including new jobs in the sector. This new invitation that the government of His Excellency Muammar Ghali, which is set to carry for the generation of today and tomorrow, a tourism of meaning and value. Tourism is strong of its heritage, it is storytelling and it's a art of living.
Approved by the World Confederation of Underwater Activities, the 100% Djiboutian Island Dividing Center provide this training exploration. For more details with our colleague Hinde Ibrahim.
Confederation of Subquite Activity, SIMA, said the diving center, the El Musha 100% Egyptian provided participant training exploration. This is located at El Musha Island. The center is center for lecture and training. It's then under the supervision of Djibouti Federation of Underwater Sport and Diving. The attention reiterates the update to needs and desire of the declarant for the certification. The driver must present medical certification and no contraindication to escape a diving of less than 1 year. The diving center offers training excursion and outline the Mocha Island in the Gulf of Tachura called the White Sand, the event part the Archipelago, to discover beautiful tinges and a very beautiful device to discover the diversity of the seabed and the underwater fauna make each diving unique. This dive is extremely competent and equipment is very good condition. Everything is in place to make this cruise an exceptional moment. Every year from October to February, many shark and belly chicken enthusiasts come to Djibouti in the hope of discovering one of these giants, who is largest individual ever observed. Each a size of 18-19 meters. Does not uncommon diving driving tribe to the meeting several tens of individuals or even more. Ibrahim and his team provide Steve discovery dive and once in a lifetime experience. The club currently has 6 certified instructors for sport fishing enthusiasts who have their sport license. They can also organize a tribe to the sea with experienced guides to accompany the fishermen in compliance with the technical rules and regulations specific to this discipline. Kids riding is also part of the file of action.
As part of the fight against human trafficking on the days of 3/31, the gendarmeries of Ali Sabih Brigade brings territorially competent in the collaboration with the road safety elements, accompanied by reinforcement from mobile gendarmeries, carry out a large-scale operation in the sector of Kol Arausa and Scoutier, but also Courtimale and Grand Barra. During this search, the gendarmeries got their hands over 97 illegal migrants caught in different corners of the travel in order to wait for the boat to go to the place called and out of the 97 migrants are all 9 are women and 88 are men. Those migrants wants to go to the country of Gulf of Aden in order to get rich, and it should be also recalled that out of 97 national and 24 will be of in from originally from Tigray, and 73 are from Oromo region. After having resources, these migrants were turned back to their homes. National Gendarmerie and their destination toward the Galilee borders. As for the guide who facilitate the journey for these Ethiopian national, and they were on the run faced with this situation and wanted notice was this launch by the national gendarmeries, and once arrested the guides they will be brought to justice to answer for their acts. And now moving on to the international scenes, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris on Friday reiterated her call for a speedy finalization at Zambia's colossal debt restriction, and during a visit to the southern African country, the latest leg of a continental tour. The United States has been pushing for the creditors, including China, to relieve the country's external debt, estimated at $17.3, and Zambia fell into a default in 2020 in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Kamala Harris, the first woman and first person of color elected to the U.S. vice presidency, arrived in Zambia on Friday after traveling to Tanzania and Ghana. She had already traveled to Zambia in her youth to visit her maternal grandfather who worked there in Zambia. This is it for this edition. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening.